Hello and welcome to Cliff Reviews Art House. This time I'm reviewing the film My Extinction, directed by Josh Appignanesi. Now I knew nothing about this film in advance, and it kind of starts out in what seems like an advertising agency, and my first impression was that it was a spoof documentary, and to be honest I'm still not 100% certain what it is. What I do know is that Josh Appignanesi is a real filmmaker, and ostensibly this is like a fly-on-the-wall documentary of him coming to terms with career disappointments and finding a new purpose in climate activism. He never talks to the camera or shows any awareness of it being there, apart from one occasion at the end when he's giving his speech in Tufton Street and he mentions that he's making a film. I'm sure this must be a deliberate decision, but it does create an ambiguity about whether what we're seeing is real or a performance. The first time we see him with his wife, who's a successful author, the footage is put together in a way that he's almost having a one-way conversation about his life concerns and anxieties. It's like she doesn't have an opportunity to get a word in edgeways. As we see more of her later in the film, we see that they can communicate. And so I wonder why he cut that early scene in a way that made him look really self-centered. And this makes me doubt that we're seeing the authentic him in this film. It feels like we're seeing a kind of manufactured, self-deprecating, cynical, pessimistic version of him. The way he presents himself at the early Extinction Rebellion events he attends also is done in a way that's very self-deprecating. We see him not quite fitting in at first, tentatively trying to join in the chanting and dancing, talking to other people with what could be a smugness. I say what could be a smugness because I just don't know if it is. His role in this film is so ambiguous that the whole thing could be intended to mock, but not necessarily. It's so hard to tell if he's being sincere. He may just be using the making of a film about Extinction Rebellion as a way of compensating for the fact that he didn't have any other work. What does become clear by the end of the film is a respect for the cause. There is enough genuine information presented by genuine activists for this respect to be apparent. So if I had to guess whether he is sincere, I would say that he is. But I also feel that he was determined to make a project out of it, and so he's approached it in this slightly self-deprecating, amateurish way as his style of documentary making. The Curzon website describes it as funny and a relatable portrait. The humour totally passed me by, I'm afraid. I always found him slightly annoying rather than funny in any way, and I think the inclusion of an antinatalist who was given a platform on several occasions was also supposed to be comedy. Maybe I don't have the right sense of humour, but I didn't find this funny at all. It's a kind of ridiculous view that the human race should stop having children, especially when the antinatalist has children himself. Overall, I did find the film a worthwhile watch. I did feel that at least it just about provided an interesting documentation of the Extinction Rebellion protests. Perhaps the most interesting insight was into Writers Rebel, a group of writers within the exile movement who see words as a powerful activist tool. Also, the topic of corporate influence in climate change denial is a really interesting topic that was only glossed over rather than being provided with any concrete information. To be honest, I would have preferred a bit more serious insight into these interesting things, and could have done without the comedy and performance elements of the film. There are some excellent films about activism that I've reviewed over the past year. For example, My Imaginary Country and Our Bodies Are Your Battlefields, even How to Blow Up a Pipeline. I think these are more interesting films about activism. That said, the film did introduce me to some new people that I googled from Writers Rebel, and it is being screened around the country with Q&A sessions. At least it helps to engender discussion and debate on this critical issue, and this can only be a good thing. Thanks for watching. See you next time.